The right to know officer, I just wanted to get a little bit more clarification there. I know it's only $15,000 expense, but I was just doing some math. So there's 174 requests last year. So if we divide that by 12 months, right, that's 14.5 per month. Divided on a weekly basis, 4 weeks, that's 3.6 a week. Roughly how long does it take to answer a right to know? I know obviously depending upon the information requested it could vary, but I mean, it's 15 minutes, a half hour.
Depends. Depends on what information is being requested. Could take all day sometimes.
Okay.
How many have we had so far this year, Joe?
So far this year,
140 is in the budget.
186 this year so far.
We have one person that has filed, out of that 186, how many?
98.
90.
He's over 50%, Mr. Yakem. You know, if he wanted to know so much, he could have joined the Home Rule Charter Committee, but he is costing the taxpayers a lot of money with his right to knows. He'll put in 5, 6, 7 at one time.
Yeah, and I'm not here to debate any of that. I mean, obviously, I haven't filed a right to know.
Well, I think it's right. I think the taxpayers should know that one individual is
Oh, absolutely.
costing them a whole lot of money with him questioning everything when it was an open forum to ask to be put on, let's say, the Home Rule Charter Committee. He never applied for it, but he every single week is asking for any kind of information for it, and that all has to be responded to.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I was just trying to get an idea of how long it would take to respond.
Excuse me, Chad, but the other side of it is, if he doesn't like the answer, he takes us to court, and then it's court costs for us at that point.
yes, and that's the more expensive.
He appeals to Harrisburg, and he does that regularly.
Yeah, just looking at,
But I'm sorry,
Others.
Chad. To your point, though, that part is under Mr. Little's budget, which we didn't talk about that yet in an open forum. Where I believe I'll probably get to that at the end of this meeting.
Just spitballing here. So again, I think the easiest thing to do would just be.
I put in my budget message for a part-time right-to-know officer, and my understanding from council is if they wanted to discuss it or they wanted to remove that from the budget, what's council's pleasure on that?
I want it removed. I don't want to pay that kind of money because Mr. Yakem can't quit filing right to knows.
What's that have to do with whether we can respond to all these right-to-knows or not?
Well, if there's half as many,
I'm sorry, Linda, I didn't hear what you said.
No.
I said I don't like the idea of having to pay $15,000 more because Mr. Yakem can't keep his pen down.
I have a question on that. I mean, this has been going on for years, and we've been able to cover it, correct, Joe? Now, before, when you had an overload, did you give those to the solicitor?
No, what happens is if there's an appeal, okay, if I deny an individual and they appeal it, it goes to the Open Records Office in Harrisburg. Okay, at that point, they decide whether to uphold my denial or grant the information to the person. So at that point, I give it to the solicitor, and generally we'll go downtown to court if it's something that we feel strongly about that we should not give out. So there's some things that go down to court in Pittsburgh. Once the Open Record Office, we go through that process. The next process is going to court in town. And Bob, you could speak to this better than I can.
I guess, no, my question, didn't Chelsea do like hundreds of them? It was my understanding.
No, I do them all. I
She
do them all.
has the appeals.
Yeah,
She
just when they go
did
to
the
the
ones
appeal.
that went to court.
Yeah.
The appeals.
There were probably, I'm going to guess, some of it off the top of my head, maybe 20 of them or so.
Right.
Well, that's not the way I understood it, but okay.
Right.
And then, are you done, Steve?
Yes.
And then, Joe, in that situation, when it goes to court, do you go? Do you have to go as an employee, or is it just the solicitor?
No, he has to go as a fact
As the
witness.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
he's
open-
my
as the-
principal witness usually. And many times, if in fact we don't get it resolved at that level and we have an actual hearing, then sometimes, let's say it's a police matter, in addition to Joe going, Doug has to go down. So, we end up having a couple people going down depending on what the issue is.
So there's a lot of labor. I mean, the point is,
Oh, yeah,
everybody's trying to make, there's a
yeah.
lot of labor and time and money being spent on these.
Well, yeah, I will tell you, some of them get worked out at the administrative level, one level at the Office of Open Records, and some of them also get worked out after an appeal is filed with the Court of Common Pleas because the judge puts a lot of pressure on both parties to try to resolve them. So we've had relatively few hearings, but we have had hearings.
Jimmy, you had a comment.
Yeah, would you not have to have somebody that knows what they're doing? As
Yeah.
far as whatever?
I think what you would need is you would need a person that knows the documents that somebody will be requesting, somebody that knows municipalities. I mean, they don't have to know specifically, but what you're looking for here is somebody to assist in the research, to copy things, to get things, to research things, to get them off the computer, to get it off of Munis, to do things of that nature. If somebody's looking, for instance, for, somebody files an RTK for the liquid fuels calculation or something, well, at least somebody may not know or have done a liquid fuel, but they know of it, and they know, and Joe, well, yeah, the CFO has that, or Tim has that.
Generate one right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a legwork issue where, like Joe said to a question, yeah, sometimes it may take a whole day to answer one. Other times it may take a minute where it's right at your fingertips.
And a lot of it is repetitive, or if someone, it really gets me when I'm reading these and I'll see someone wants a video of a council meeting. Well, they're all available at the library for checkout.
Right.
You can go to the library and check one out. Why put our man that we're paying X amount of dollars an hour, 2 hours to go get this tape, generate the tape, get it to you?
Well, as an aside, Steve, and I mentioned this at the staff meeting, and Doug and I have talked about this, and we've talked about it at a staff meeting. It's more sensitive with the police departments. What I've read in publications and public management and things of that nature, national publications, a lot of different municipalities, and I'm talking nationally, what they're trying to do with the technology we have today is virtually, and I'm emphasizing the word virtually put everything on the website. So if you want it,
Go get it.
you go get it. Now, with police reports, there are certain things you can do, but things have to be redacted.
Well, naturally.
Now, and that comes on occasions, you may have a police report somebody wants. But, I mean, there's municipalities that put invoices, that put, everything, and I'm not talking about necessarily in Pennsylvania. Now, you need a person to do that, just to scan the stuff and to get it on the website. So the whole issue with technology and transparency is a good thing, but there's a lag time in trying to catch up, in trying to accommodate the law that was passed in 2009 here in the Commonwealth. You have the technology where I'm saying, just put it on the website, and if somebody wants something, there it is, and it's in files, and you can put this all into different files, and they have to go look, and it may take them 15 minutes to find it, instead of having Joe doing it. Just go on the website.
Let's just do here, I'd like to hear some more flavor of council. How do you all feel?
I tend to agree with Linda in regards to not doing it.
Tom?
I agree with Linda and Steve.
I want to back out of the weeds a little bit. So you're asking for 15 grand? For what? What is, operationally, what is that doing?
Joe didn't come to me about this. This was me.
No, and yeah,
Just so you know that.
I just want
All
to,
right.
what are we paying for?
All right, like I said, it would be a part-time person that would come in as needed for somebody to do research, and as JJ just said, somebody that knows the different documents of a municipality. You're not going to be able to hire somebody that has never worked in a municipality. That's not going to work.
So you're going to have to hire a past employee that's no longer working full-time that would have a clue to where he needs to look.
Not necessarily.
I feel that Joe's doing a good job.
You may not find anybody, I don't know.
You do a great job, Jeff.
Well, and how much time is there to respond? So if you get a right to know on a Monday, how much time would need to be responded? I mean, and what I'm getting at, if it's a part-time person, is it someone that wouldn't have to be here every day, or?
5 business days to answer.
So 5 business days from whenever you actually get
From the day I receive it, I have 5 business days after that.
And you can
then
ask for extensions, correct?
I can ask for a 30-day extension. There's 5 reasons why you can ask for extension. If it's something that's large, if it's something that involves a lot of people, where I have to get a lot of information, I ask for 30-day extensions.
So, average, how many hours a week are you spending on Right to Knows?
I can tell you, just today, I spent at least 5 hours today on it, at least today.
So-
And I'll spend at least 4 hours tomorrow on it, because I have, as you know, I have a lot due on Friday, so.
Because on one part of me, I tend to agree with my esteemed colleagues here, but on the other side, just operationally, I mean, if this is taking 50%, 25% of your time to do this,
Takes away
I
from.
think it's a 15 grand well spent.
Responsibilities.
We can't stop people from filing frivolous Right to Knows. We can't
It's not going to stop.
legislate
It's going to get worse.
how we can or can, with a time limit, to respond to them. I just kind of look at things operationally, and, I mean, if Joe's spending, 25, 30, 40% of his time doing the Right to Knows,
Is that every week, or is
I think it's
that
more.
unusual? Is it,
No, I usually get, you see how many I get. And I've got, so far this year, it's 186 total. So, some weeks I'll spend a good part of the week doing just right to know requests. And some weeks I don't. It
in some weeks,
changes,
it changes, because I've seen where you'll get 7 at one time.
or 9.
Yes, or 9.
So
Yeah.
Joe, out of the 186 this year, how many were from one individual?
98.
98 out of 186 were
I
from.
don't have, you know what, Nick?
Should be a way to charge it for that 98.
It'd be 390.
You're not going to
Yeah.
stop.
I mean, Joe, are you able to complete your other assignment?
No offense, but that's
Yeah, I mean,
what it is.
you know me, Steve, I do whatever I
step
have
up
to
to the
do.
plate.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's, I make sure it gets done.
And Steve, that's a good question, because, Joe.
Well, I know in the past, not just Joe, but we've compensated, just last year, certain employees for stepping up to the plate and taking that extra workload.
I don't question.
So we don't forget that we've done that.
I don't question the spending the $15,000. My question is that how do we find someone that can be qualified to come in and help them? Because if we hire somebody that, let's say off the street, and they have to go to Joe every time they get one of these forms and say, Joe, what do I get this, what do I get that?
Tom, very good point. You do have to find an individual.
That's my only issue.
Yeah, you do have to find an individual, that they understand the name of a document, they've seen the document before, they've worked on the document to make it worthwhile. You are correct. You are correct.
Okay, Jim,
Absolutely.
we've heard from your other 3 colleagues to your right there. What's your thoughts on this?
Myself, personally, I feel, Joe does a great job. I just don't think we need to spend $15,000 for a part-time employee that I personally don't think you're going to find anybody.
Hang on.
That's my opinion.
No, that's why I'm asking everybody's opinion. Ron?
I'm in favor of it, but I think they bring up a good point that the person would have to be here a very long time to start knowing the system the way Joe knows it. And I'm not trying to lay it all on Joe, I'm just saying that we're going to be paying a part-time employee for a long time before they're into the swing of things and
Right.
know where to find these documents. That's my only problem. If we had somebody that had the knowledge, or even part of the knowledge that Joe did, I'd be in favor of hiring him help.
Nick?
I'm not in favor of it. I mean, I think Joe does a great job. I mean, we'd love to get him more help, but perhaps maybe something that we maybe log or pay attention to over the next year, if there's a way to maybe figure out, how much time actually is spent. Because we can look at the numbers, how many requests there are. Maybe we need a better picture throughout the course of the year of how much time is being spent, and then we can reevaluate this next year.
Okay, Tim, you have your answer. Next, please.
Okay,
Excuse me, Tim, I just have one comment to make. Isn't it a shame that we have to spend this much time talking about the right to knows and trying to get some additional funding to help Joe?
well,
Because most of them are frivolous and,
if it wasn't that, then it would be something else, Tom.
I know.
And it's also the law of the land.
Yes,
It'd
you
be
did.
something else.
Yeah.
So you always have something to discuss and make decisions over.